Hello and welcome to the Lee Schools TV podcast. I'm Adam Wright. Joining us today is Callie Atkinson, a recent graduate of Cypress Lake High School and is now a professional entertainer. Callie, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me today.
You're quite welcome. So Lee Byer, who works here at the school district in the Fine and Performing Arts Department, reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said that you would be great to have on the podcast. And she said you got to grab her while she's still in town. So you have been, you said, like I said, a recent graduate of Cypress Lake High School. You graduated just in 2017.
Yes.
And you've been working for the past 6 months on a cruise ship.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I just got off of Brilliance of the Seas, which is a Royal Caribbean ship. And I was a featured singer on that ship for the last 6 months. Yeah.
So, yeah, what was that like?
It was totally incredible. It was something I'd always wanted to do, but I wasn't sure of when it would kind of happen in my life. So I had moved to New York City in January, and within almost 2 weeks of being there, I got my contract from Royal Caribbean, and I moved everything back and started rehearsals for about 2 months, and then we got onto the ship. We were in the Caribbean for about 3 weeks, and then we made a 15-day crossing to Europe, where I spent the remaining 5.5 months in the Mediterranean, the Baltic, and the British Isles, which was so incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at just a couple years removed from high school, and you're already traveling the world, and it's got to be kind of hard to believe, right?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I loved the most was getting to perform so consistently on the ship, getting to perform musical theater stuff, which is what I love to do most, but also getting to do rock, pop, and singing in different languages, which is something I didn't think I would ever do, but that was...
Do you know other languages, or do you just
Nope.
memorize the songs?
Yeah, they kind of just gave me a few songs that were in Spanish. I only did Spanish till about 5th grade, so that was all behind me. So I just memorized specifically what the songs were, and yeah.
Well, let's take a quick look and listen to one of your performances on board the cruise ship.
Great.
All right, that was awesome.
Thank you.
What song is that?
That was Defying Gravity from Wicked the Musical, which is one of my favorite musicals. It's something that I kind of manifest and hope to do actually one day. And that was from my personal set, which I was lucky enough to do. So me, as well as the other featured boy singer, got to do our own about 45-minute show together, which allowed us to do whatever songs we wanted to with a full 9-piece orchestra, which was really awesome. And it was cool to sing songs that I've always wanted to sing, especially for an audience that really isn't known to listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
you were up there by yourself on stage singing solo,
Yeah.
spotlight right on you.
Yeah.
Have you had that kind of intimate performances before, or is this kind of new to you?
Not that I can remember. I mean, a lot of stuff before I've done the ship, besides from musicals, was all track-based. So, like, I found my tracks on YouTube, and I play it through a speaker. But this was so intense, but in a good way, to be surrounded completely by a full live orchestra with no track behind you. And it just really felt like professional and real, and it was an awesome opportunity.
So the people that you're singing to, are they there to see a show, or are they eating dinner, or how's it?
Yeah, so our theater on the ship was specifically for the shows of that evening. We brought on guest entertainers to the ship, which they often came and saw those as well. Usually they're just drinking during the shows, but no eating. It's not like a dinner theater. It's a beautiful, nice-sized theater. I believe it held around 800 seats in it, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, just being kind of there in the spotlight, surrounded and seeing the audience and everything was amazing.
So how does one get a job on a cruise ship as an entertainer?
So there's really two ways to go about getting a job on a cruise ship. Before I moved to New York, the first way was to submit virtually online. Most cruise lines have their own portals that you can kind of enroll to and then submit materials of you singing, materials of you dancing. And so I did that, and I actually got a response saying, we don't have anything for you at this time, which is completely normal from what I'd heard. And then I moved to New York, and I went to a big cattle call audition where there were about 40 other companies there auditioning. I knew that there were cruise lines there as well, but I wasn't sure what I was exactly wanting out of this big audition. And so I sang about 30 seconds of a song, and not even a minute after my audition, I had gotten an email from one of the casting directors saying, we would love to see you for a callback. Please choose from this list of songs, 2 or 3 songs, and we'll see you then. So I went to this callback, and I was in the room for about 15 minutes, which was kind of unheard of from most audition experiences that I've had, because usually you go and you do your stuff and you leave. But they spent a really good amount of time with me to really see what I had to offer and see what they needed to see from me. And so, yeah, really it's the option of submitting virtually and, trying your luck with that. But they do usually like to see you live if you're a new hire. And then going about getting a job again, you usually will submit request, and from there they'll see if those requests fit you or if they feel something else is better for you, and then you may have another job, which I was lucky enough to receive about a month away from ending my first contract.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you start your next stint on a cruise ship. When's that?
Yes, I start rehearsals on Friday. So I've had about an 18-day vacation since I got off of Brilliance. And then I'll be in rehearsals till January 12th, which is when we'll board the ship. And I get off August 22nd. So I was on for 6 months, my last contract, and this is an 8-month contract now. So it's going to be different because it's longer, and it will be a bigger ship, which I'm very excited about, and 3 different shows. One is ship specific, so it's only on Adventure of the Seas, which is the next ship I'm going on. And it's Vegas themed. I'll get to be Cher, which I'm very excited about. Cool. But yeah.
So how does it work? Do you sing? Do you do multiple performances a night, multiple nights a week? How often are you up on stage singing?
So it depends on the types of cruises that that ship does. So for me, we were doing 12-day Baltic and British Isles cruises, which is longer than most cruises do. So we had 3 shows at that time. We would do twice a night, but only once per cruise, if that makes sense. So we would only be performing truly 3 nights of the 12-day cruises. And then we'd also have smaller singing sets throughout the cruise in our Centrum, which is like the big guest area that goes from the first level of the cruise all the way up to the top level. So people are watching from all different decks. And then also the personal set that you saw a bit of. And then at that point, we do have the ability to go off and explore the ports. We have mandatory workouts and dance classes that they're lucky enough to let the singers participate in, which is nice. But yeah, it's really specific to what the ship schedule is like. For Adventure of the Seas, I'll be doing 6 to 8 day cruises, so it will be a bit more intense than the 12 days that I experienced. But I kind of like that. I like being in more of a set schedule and kind of being limited to time, so I can get what I need done and everything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like how much downtime there is if you're able to just kind of like go out on the deck and chill and sunbathe for a while if you want, or how that works.
Yeah, some people, after they saw what they needed to see of that place, they said, I'll take a chill day in, which
Yeah.
I did quite a few times, because you do need that on a ship. It's an amazing job, but you are away from home and you are away from family and friends. So sometimes taking that time to relax and unwind and just take a day to yourself to just do what you need to do is necessary. And as performers on a cruise ship, we are lucky that we do get that time.
Did you ever, when you were in or right after graduation, did you ever think you would be entertaining on a cruise ship, or?
No, I had gone to college for a year. I went to a conservatory in New York. Unfortunately, it did just not work out for me. It's very expensive
Yeah,
in
I
New
bet.
York, let alone to go to school in New York. So I had no clue that I'd be performing on a cruise ship at this age, let alone this soon. So, everything works out how it's supposed to, though. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy I'm getting to do this now while I can. So then hopefully in the future, I'll just be able to settle down and be on land and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best time of life to do something like this, right? When you're still, young and in your 20s.
Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit. So you, like I said, you went to Cypress Lake High School. Were you born and raised in Southwest Florida?
Yep, born and raised. I still am currently residing in the same household that I have grown up in my entire life.
Until you board the ship again?
Yep.
So obviously Cypress Lake is, known for being an arts school. So you studied the arts at Cypress
Yeah.
Lake. Lee Byer was telling me that you're a triple threat. So not only do you sing, but you dance and act as well.
Yes. I was lucky enough at Cypress to be a theater major, but I was also able to take classes in the vocal department and the dance department. I was a part of the a cappella group, which is pretty well known throughout the school district. I was in that since I was a freshman till I was a senior, and just being in the center, you were able to take any other center classes that you wanted to if you were able to fit it into your schedule, which I think is one of the most amazing parts about Cypress is you have the ability to try and do things that you want to do. And, there are other people who are doing that as well, so you don't feel like the oddball, you
Yeah.
know? So I really enjoyed doing all the different things I could in the Center for the Arts.
So how did going to Cypress Lake High and all the different advantages they offer there for students interested in the performing arts, how did that prepare you for your job on the cruise ship?
It really allowed me to work on my singing, my dancing, and my acting, just in a test-free zone. Like, you could just make mistakes, and you had people who were there supporting you and lifting you up, and it was just a really good environment to be in. It also helped me realize that, everything at that school is capable of doing it for itself. So like the musicals, we did everything in-house. We didn't bring anything outside to help us with getting that stuff up. It was all, our media department helping us, our art department helping us, which really helped me collaborate, I think. Because, you'd have to reach out to other people for help rather than looking towards the outside, which is another really, really good part about Cypress. But I really think it helped me just blossom and shape into part of the person I am today through all the teachers' help and all of the opportunities that they allowed for us there.
So singing, dancing, acting, which one do you like the best?
Singing.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I say if you're a singer or a dancer, you're an actor as well, because in singing and dancing, you have to be able to emote and show what you're singing or dancing through. So acting is just part of it. If you're a singer or a dancer, you're an actor as well, I say.
How old were you, and when did you first start becoming really interested in the arts?
I did my first community theater production when I was 6 years old, but my mom and I definitely remember just dancing and singing around the house from a very young age, putting on my own shows in the living room or in the front lawn. Um, but yeah, community theater was what I did for quite a while. And then I got my first professional job at 11 at the Broadway Palm Dinner Theater. And then I started getting paid professionally at the age of 15 working there. And that was where I was almost every summer until I graduated. And after, when I had to leave college, I came back and I worked there for about 4 months consistently. And yeah, performing has just kind of always been what I wanted to do. I tried the sports stuff. I tried the academic stuff. It just wasn't as appealing to me as performing was.
How essential do you think it was for you to get that experience, not only at Cypress, but also, like you said, so you worked at the Broadway Palm starting at age 11 and then, professionally started getting paid at 15. It was mostly during the summers or?
Yeah.
So how essential was that for your development and growth?
I think it was very essential because I really enjoyed working with adults, and even in high school, I kind of grew more towards people older than me just because I found I really looked up to them, and I found a sense of maturity and something to look up to. So being in a professional environment and an environment where I am with older people was something that I think really helped me grow up as a student and a young adult in theater, because you can have your fun and you can enjoy what you do, but you also need to remember that at the end of the day it is a job, and I was very thankful that they took on someone as young as I was in comparison to other people who were there who had graduated college and had been working in this industry for a while. And so it really helped me grow up fast, but in a good way, so that I can understand really what it takes to be in this business.
So at the Broadway Palm, any shows you were in that people might recognize?
Yeah, I did the summer shows of Mary Poppins, Footloose, Wizard of Oz, and then went into 42nd Street and Elf, which were two really, really fun shows for me to do.
So other than, musicals and what you're doing on the cruise ships, what other kind of performances have you done? I think I saw a video of you singing the national anthem at some sporting events.
Yeah, I did the national anthem for quite a while, just around baseball games and City of Palms. It was something I did when I was really young, and it was just something that I continued to keep doing for a while when I was asked to, or if there was an audition. And I actually haven't done it in a while, but that was something that I remember doing very consistently. And the national anthem is much harder to sing than people think it is.
I bet. So how old were you the first time you ever did one?
Oh, gosh. Maybe 10 or 11 years old. Yeah.
But was it in a big stadium or?
It was at... What's the one baseball stadium?
Where the Twins play, or the Red Sox? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
It used to be Hammond Stadium.
Yes, Hammond Stadium.
CenturyLink Stadium, I think it's called now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was there. And then I did sing once at the Boston, of the Boston an Orioles game, I believe. Yeah.
Is it still Hammond Stadium at CenturyLink Sports Complex? I think, I don't know. Somebody will correct me. Okay, so you're 11 years old and you're in Hammond Stadium?
Yeah, it was intense.
I bet. So, yeah, I mean, that's got to be pretty nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
And perform in front of thousands of people like that?
And it's also a completely different environment because you get this echo feedback that makes you think, oh my gosh, I need to go slower, I need to go faster. And it was very overwhelming. It was something to get used to, definitely. But once I kind of got the hang of it, to just keep your pace no matter what you're hearing from the outside. And then, you finish it, and people really enjoy hearing that, so it was good to hear the applause and the cheering and stuff, especially at that age.
Yeah, and like you said, the national anthem much harder than people realize. Is it because, if you screw up one word, everybody will know, or
That was part of it, but also the way it starts off, whatever key you choose to do it in, it starts off much lower and then gets much higher. So you kind of have to really practice what works best for you, and that came with time and definitely doing it in the shower and everything like that.
did you ever screw up the words?
I don't think I ever screwed up the words. I
that's
definitely
good.
feared screwing up
Yeah,
the
I
words
bet.
before, but yeah.
Anything else? Any other kind of performances that you've done? How much dancing have you done?
Dancing.
Is that part of the musicals that you've been in and things?
Dancing was something I learned from just being in productions. I only took about a few months of tap class at a studio. Everything else was just self-taught. I often watched videos of dance and tried to recreate it myself. I practiced stuff in my front yard. I credit a lot of my dance ability to just being in productions and learning myself. But I enjoy dancing when I do get to, but it's rare now being a singer on a ship because you're singing specifically, just singing.
What if you had to, if there are young students out there listening to this who are either in the arts or, thinking about they have an interest in the arts, what would you tell them, somebody who's gone through it at Cypress Lake and then graduated and is now doing it professionally?
Yeah.
What would you say to them as far as, why is it important to participate in the performing arts and how it can help people grow?
I believe that performing arts, whether it be singing, dancing, or acting, just creates a space that is capable of just creating and being vulnerable and making mistakes and being okay with making mistakes. I believe that being in the arts, there's no right or wrong. There's just exploring and getting to be yourself while also getting to be someone else. Because while you are playing characters in productions and in scenes and songs, you're still being yourself in that. So I think it's great for students or kids who are wanting to, try performing, to understand that there's no right or wrong. Nobody can tell you that what you're doing is wrong because it's performing, it's make-believe while still getting to be yourself and put yourself into whatever you're doing. And I think it's really important, even if it's not something that you want to do when you're older, to at least give it a try because, again, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. It's a matter of having fun, exploring, trying, being vulnerable, and definitely working with other people because a lot of what performing is working with other people, collaborating ideas, collaborating emotions and feelings, and getting to just play and make believe. And it's something magical, which is what attracted me to it when I was so young. It's just fun to get to be something else. Yeah.
I like what you said. You said you can be yourself while also being somebody else. That was
You
interesting.
should in performing because you can find a way to connect to anything and you can make up a scenario to be able to connect to it. So that's truly what I love most about it, and I think people need to realize that that's performing is, what we are doing is real. It's just a matter of what you perceive it as.
And especially to get to the level that you're at takes a lot of hard work and practice and training as well, right? And you kind of learn to get a regiment down and really...
Yeah, and you have to have tough, thick skin
Yeah.
to be in this business, and that's something I learned from a young age as well. Being in a professional environment is, you're going to be told no many times. That doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. It just means that it's not what they're looking for, or they're looking for something else, and that's not a bad thing. It's going to help you grow, and it's going to help you become really who you are and the performer that you need to be.
Yeah. So what would you say to somebody who's like, man, I really like acting or singing, but I'm so afraid of embarrassing myself in front of other people, or like it's hard to be goofy in front of a crowd of people, and people get embarrassed and in their own heads a lot. Is there a secret or a trick to getting over that, or it's you just gotta not care?
I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone has their ways of kind of blocking out what people think and what people may perceive what you're doing as. But for me, it's really just understanding that what I'm doing is important, and what I'm doing is something that I'm truly enjoying, and people are either going to take that and see that, or they're gonna think what they want of it. And at the end of the day, as long as you're happy with what you're doing, that's really all that matters.
That was always probably the hardest part for me. I was a theater minor in college.
Oh, nice.
And I took some improv classes, and you're just being really goofy in front of people that you don't really know that well, and you don't really know me that well, but if people listening, but I am actually a really super cool guy, and so I always wanted to be, have that persona. Like, I'm cool. I don't need to be, so goofy. And eventually, the more you do it, the less you care, and it got easier over time. But that was always like the hardest kind of obstacle for me to get over was, all right, I can't care what these people who I will never see again after this class is over this semester. I just, can't care what they think.
Yeah.
Just be goofy and
Yeah.
silly. All right. So what's next for you? I know short term, you have your another stint on the cruise ship.
Yep.
For how long again, you said?
8 months on
8
the
months.
ship. Yeah. So that's short term. Short term. What's next? 8 months. And then after that, I would like to move back to New York City and kind of settle down and be on land for a while. I want to have my own place and start kind of working towards possibly joining the union, which is what you have to do to be on Broadway. And ultimately...
So that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Your ultimate career goal, Broadway?
Broadway, yeah. I can't even put a timeline on it because it's going to happen when it happens. And it takes a lot of hard work to get there. I've gotten the chance to speak to a lot of people who have kind of gone through that already and who are on Broadway. And, I just have to realize that it's a go with the flow and work really hard to get there and be and do what you want.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, Callie, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is The Perks of... we're going to cut that.
Maybe not. Perks of Being a Wallflower?
Perks of Being a Wallflower,
Okay.
yes.
I haven't read the book, but I've seen the movie.
It's great.
I thought the movie was pretty good.
The movie was good, and the thing I appreciate about it the most is it's almost completely like the book.
That's key.
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing annoys me more than when they change stuff unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Even sometimes they cut stuff out for time because you can't fit as much into a movie than you can into a book. But when they just
Like, why?
anyway.
Why do that?
Okay, what's your favorite movie or TV show? Or I guess for you, what's your favorite musical or play? Or
I can't answer movies because I'm not a movie person.
okay, you can leave now if you.
Oh, okay. TV show, The Office,
Oh, me too.
definitely.
All right, nice.
I've watched it, I don't know how many times.
Who's your favorite
music-
character? Sorry.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just going to stop right here for a second. Talk about The Office.
I love Andy, really.
Really?
I do. I love Dwight. I mean, who doesn't? Really, all of them in their own way. They just have.
I should have said, who's your favorite character and why is it Michael? But that's like.
I mean, Michael, I believe, is everybody's favorite character just in general. But yeah, The Office definitely. Musicals, I love Mary Poppins. And then recently, because I just saw it, was Moulin Rouge. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have you ever, you said you've done Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
when
which
you were
is what I think grew me towards liking it so much.
You've never been in Moulin Rouge?
No, that is brand new to Broadway, so that will be a while.
Maybe one day. Okay, do you have a favorite song or a favorite musical artist?
Favorite artist is Beyonce.
Nice.
Yeah. Just
Why
all
not?
songs by Beyonce,
Yeah.
everything Beyonce.
Cool. Okay. What was your favorite subject in school growing up besides performing arts?
Performing arts,
Yeah.
I enjoyed anatomy in high school. From what I remember of like middle school. I did enjoy science as much as I didn't get that A in the class. I enjoyed learning about, how stuff works, really.
Do you listen to that podcast, How Stuff Works?
I have a few times, but not enough.
Because I know you said you listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorites? We
Uh,
don't have to talk about that. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would it be and why? Can't say Beyonce.
Cher.
Oh, okay.
It would be Cher. I feel like she comes from a really interesting background, and a lot of people don't really know how she came to be Cher. And she's just a really strong, boss, independent woman. And so I'd love to kind of pick her brain about what she thinks of certain things and how she got to where she is and how she is the way she is, because she's just a force, really.
So if you had like a role model performer, Beyonce or Cher, or
I really can't pick
Yeah.
anyone specifically, because there are quite a few people who I look up to and who inspire me as a performer and a person to kind of just live my life and be who I want to be as a performer. So, yeah, there's a few people.
all right, Callie Atkinson, graduate of Cypress Lake High School and professional entertainer and maybe future Broadway star. Good luck with your future. We're all rooting for
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate it.
All right, and thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.